we were going to talk about this story about hiring the elderly.
Yeah,
and
good news.
That's a good story for me.
Yeah,
this is all good news. All right, yeah. So it's basically the headline is just employers are becoming more open to hiring older people, and this is something I think the pandemic pushed into the forefront because people are working remotely. But now it's saying many employers are now considering age 50 plus job applicants. And I don't think they were considering them as much before. They're looking at them as more valuable. They're working harder. They find them just more valuable than some of their younger counterparts who I'm very passionate about this because I've worked in many, many different industries. I've had many jobs just like you guys because I've been an actor, comedian, so I've literally done everything.
Oh, you wanted designer jeans.
I did. I mean, Jesus, what are you going to do? You got to rake a lot of leaves. But literally, though, that was my generation. And I think it's a generational thing. I don't think people just come out of the womb like my daughter and is like, I'm not going to work. But I've worked with a lot of young people that only do what's expected of them and nothing more, not one thing more. And I think older people will go out of their way to show how valuable they are and because they want to be good at their job.
Plus, they don't steal as much shit. Younger people are like, how do I figure out how to steal shit? Like, that's how I was. Every job. The McDonald's, wherever it was, I'm like, how do I make this work for me? It's complicated. It makes you smarter because you got to learn how to use a computer. You got to count the amount of Big Macs that you said were on the heater too long, and you had to throw them away.
That was my move.
Yeah.
I wasn't as nefarious as you when I worked at McDonald's, but there did come a time when there needed to be like 13 fillet of fish disposed of, and my hand went up fast.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, I'll be taking care of this.
Yeah.
And I went and I probably ate 3 of them by the dumpster, like as fast as I could. There was a lot of like, what's a reasonable amount of time that I can be here before people get suspicious and want to know what the fuck I'm doing?
Absolutely.
Which I based a lot of my childhood on.
Yeah.
Like hey, Mr. Branson, I need to use the bathroom. Can I have a pass during history class? Like, what is a reasonable amount of time I can stand in this bathroom before somebody starts getting suspicious? Whereas later on, working construction, it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to go on a plywood run down to the Ole's. What is a reasonable? If you really think about that concept of a job, like what's a reasonable amount of time I can stand outside the building doing nothing
and jerk off
before my fucking foreman starts going, what the fuck's going on? Before Ken, the manager of the McDonald's, starts going out, going. So I did, and then the rest of them I stuffed in the arm of the dumpster.
Oh yeah, I did that too.
To retrieve them
later.
Yeah.
After work.
Also on the kill floor, there's 12 guys. We're all chiseled heads, 6 across from each other, and it just becomes organic. One guy goes into the bathroom, goes in for 2/10 of an hour, whatever, 12 minutes. Then he gets back, and then the next guy goes. So there's never really 12 guys chiseling heads or boning hams or whatever, because it's a whole system, and it's how you survive getting through those days. You're like, a couple times a day, I'm going to leave for 12 minutes, go into the bathroom.
If you can beat off standing up, you can squeeze
seriously,
one off.
You do it real quick, probably in 6 minutes.
The amount, Jody, or percentage-wise of males who have beat off on a job site.
Oh God,
disgust most women. They're appalled.
I'm not shocked at all. I've seen guys jerking off in their cars. I see guys
did you really?
Oh my God, multiple times driving down to the Jersey Shore. Some dude next to me smiling is just jerking off.
Was it Louis C.K.?
It could have been.
He was at the Borgata.
Could have been. I feel like guys will do it anywhere. Girls, we will hold off.
We wish you would.
Well, we've done it. So I've done it in the car.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When?
I mean, not recently.
Yeah,
but
that's too bad.
She was driving Uber back then.
I did it in Uber.
Super boring passenger.
Yeah. I was like, please tell me about your screenplay again. And then I just fucking start jerking off.
Well, I think what we're talking about with the employees is, and I don't want to sound like Grandpa Carolla here, but there were times that were different and relationships that were different, and it's that way with gay marriage, it's that way with decriminalization of marijuana, it's that way with transgender or whatever. It's just there are times when we just went, hey, you don't do that, or it's a different time, and so you think differently. And so the relationship with work when I was younger was It was work.
It was work.
You didn't need to be respected. You didn't need to be fulfilled. If somebody yelled at you to do something, that's what happens when you go to work. And the part where you get to claim, I'm not going to do that work because that's not my job, that didn't.
No, you did it.
That did not exist. Like, I fired a couple of guys who worked here a million years ago because their office, which is right behind us, was a mess. And so there's another thing, too. Young people are fucking slobs.
Yeah, they're slobs.
They're
That's
slobs. True. They do not run a tight ship. And the office was like a mess, like just a holy mess. And there was a practical side to it. I was looking for some cord and I couldn't find it, but eventually was up in a pile of stuff. I said, we got to get organized. And there were 3 guys in the office. I said, let's clean the office. You got to clean the office. And the first guy said, I share this office with 2 guys. Why am I cleaning the office? I was like, do you want to cordon off the 4 feet that is the office is 12 feet long. There's 3 of you. Should we put a piece of tape at the 4 foot?
He would do that.
Yeah.
He'd like, that sounds fair.
Yeah, it's going to be like an 80s sitcom where we draw a line and share the apartment.
Where they put it all the way down the room.
Right. I was like, it's just clean the office. None of them clean the office. I kept telling them to clean the office. They wouldn't clean the office. And then at some point, I came in on a Saturday and I cleaned the office. And then they got pissed that I cleaned the office once I shamed them that I cleaned the office, and they ended up quitting.
Jesus.
That is a new world order that did not exist. Now, you can say, is this good? Is it bad? Is it progress? Is it their job? I'll put all that aside. I'm just saying that didn't exist.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
A lot of the other stuff is progress.
Right.
But and when young people say, there's more to my life than work, I mean, that makes sense. I will say this, especially in our business. People are like, oh, no, this is my job. And a few years ago, myself and a bunch of people in Hollywood, we started this thing called Got Your Six, where we put veterans at the top of every list. And we're like, we got a bunch of awards for it, but it was very selfish because veterans, in my experience, will do whatever the fuck. If there's a wall that goes down over there, they're not going to be like, oh shit, I'm over here. They'll always jump in, and so selfishly, it's been beneficial to everybody in our business.
Right. I got a program called Asian First, where I just take all the Asians and put them at the top, and it fucking works. It kicks ass every time.
I'm going to write that down.
I'm not as celebrated.
Well, here's the thing. They're saying the collapse in fertility rates and the increasing life expectancy has something to do with it as well. I mean, people used to retire at between 60 and 65, just like we're retired, and nobody wants to do that anymore.
Well, you hang around long enough, and you see in no particular order the Tom Arnolds, the Dr. Drews, the Mark Garrigas's. These guys are all in their later 60s, kicking ass. The only thing, and by the way, all they are is basically a 30-year-old version of themselves with another 35 years experience in their head. There's no goddamn reason at all why you wouldn't want these people
you want
working
those
for
people.
you.
I think the only as I was like reading through this and thinking about it, because again, I've worked with a lot of people that I'll ask them to do something. Oh, that's not what I do. That's not my job, or that's what I don't get paid for that, or you want me to stay an hour late? I like all of that stuff. I think the only problem with someone like myself or people like me is that I had a harder time as I climbed up the ladder in the job that I'm at, delegating stuff, because I'll do it all. I'll do the cleaning, and then I'll come back here, I'll reorganize, I'll do some filing. And you get to a point where someone's like, you don't have to do that. You can delegate that to other people. But because my mindset is, I'll just do it. I'm not going to ask somebody to do it. I'm just going to do it. You know what I mean?
The biggest, probably ongoing situation that we've ever had in this place of work for coming on 15 years is rinsing coffee mugs. People cannot rinse their coffee mug. And I realize it's just a gene. I think some people don't have it, but the coffee mugs that aren't rinsed, the coffee dries up at the bottom, and then you do that one finger scrape because you can't get a full fist in there. And it's like, and so there's 2 parts. I would say, just rinse it. Just put it in the sink when you're done and just give it a splash of water. Nobody did it for probably about 8 years. Plenty of discussions and meltdowns and pleas and arguments. So no one did it. But then at some point, the cup would find itself to the sink, be under the spigot, but not get the splash.
Oh.
And they'd leave for the weekend. And then at some point, I'd come in and I'd go, hey, there's a coffee mug. It's just sitting in the sink. It's got a 1/4 inch of coffee in the bottom of it. Give it a rinse. And then the answer would be, that's not my coffee mug. And I'd be like, yes, but you went to the sink 26 times. You've been here for 2 hours. Why not give it a shot of water? Like, not my whatever, which to me is a worse answer.
Yes.
Like, the thing about excuses with a lot of young people is to them it's an excuse. To me, it's an indictment.
Yeah, you know, speaking of coffee mugs, yesterday I reached for one. I'm trying to eliminate, I need the storage space. And it's Dr. Drew's 60th birthday with his face on it. That's a weird coincidence. I thought, can I get rid of this? I was like, no, I
Did
like
you keep
thinking
it?
about,
You kept it?
I like thinking about him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, why not hire? It's essentially, it's not like you are hiring an old person. You're hiring a person from a different time when work meant something different.
The 50's not that old.
Which is what you would want in the present day.
My dad worked until 4 days before he died. He worked for 45 years. He was an industrial engineer at a plant. Great job. And then the next day he went to work at the hospital with his buddies for $10 an hour delivering body parts and fluids and shit. And he went here, he did this. You know, and my other grandpa worked, he was blind, he would drive for work, and we'd see him on the streets of a small town. But that's what they did.
He killed a few people.
He was a moil. He was the only blind moil.
The only blind movie is really good. Here's
Iowa.
the thing, though.
I would never use a moil. He's a doctor.
Yeah.
You hear the stories about people retiring and dying like a month later.
No, you do hear
And then you hear
those.
people that like worked until they're like 90. I feel like we need to have that. It keeps us young. It keeps us sharp. It gives us purpose. That's the greatest thing I think about. A lot of people don't want to retire. I don't want to retire. I don't.
Jane Fonda is smoking hot. She's 85. And people are like, would you? I go, yeah, I would. Yeah.
Well, yeah, let's get her
well,
on the
of course,
horn.
I'm almost 65. Oh, no, I've talked to her before. Not about that.
Does she know that it's been 6 years?
No, but I heard she hasn't had sex in a bunch of years, too. And I thought, well, we got something to talk
put it
about,
together.
man.
I don't know how long you'd laugh with Jane Fonda.
Who cares? That's fine.
And the
She's
6-year
thin.
layoff.
That's good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not about lasting long. It's just about doing. Sometimes, and I recommend this to people to get married, you have to have sex. You're the only people you get to have sex with in the world. That's part of it. And if you go too long, you know, like every Wednesday is a good thing. But if you go over a month, you start having resentments. You start getting jealous. Like, what's he doing at work that he doesn't need me? And you're like, fuck her. She won't have sex. And nobody wants to do it. And you just get farther away. I say, once a month, you have to go into a closet and just fucking do it. Not you don't have to be romantic. Some kind of human contact. Get it
Mop,
over.
entry hall,
Break the
pantry.
slump.
We live in
You
like a
gotta be
6-bedroom
specific.
house. We're going in the closet.
Yeah, well, whatever it takes, break the slump. You can't blame your kids for it if you're in the closet. You're like, yeah, we're doing it.